Hello there. Today I'm taking a look at a grape variety called Malagousia. It's a uniquely Greek grape variety, and I believe this is probably the archetypal example of this grape variety. The reason I think this is it's made by a man called Vangelis Gerovassiliou, and arguably he's one of Greece's most respected winemakers. Back in the 1970s, Vangelis studied in Bordeaux with Professor Emile Peynaud, one of the most highly regarded oenologists of his generation. And between 1976 and 1999, Gerovassiliou was the winemaker in charge of Domaine Porto Carras. It was a winery in Halkidiki that can arguably claim to be Greece's first modern winery. While Gerovassiliou was there, he rescued this traditional old Greek grape variety that was pretty much extinct, planting it in their vineyards there. And then in 1981, when he returned to his own family vineyards in Epanomi, the place where he'd grown up, and started planting his own vineyard and building a winery there, Malagousia was one of the grape varieties he selected. As I say, he started planting for his own estate back in 1981, starting off with 2.4 hectares there. His winery was completed in 1986, and currently they now have something like 74 hectares of vines, so the enterprise has grown significantly since then. Gerovassiliou has also been influential in the development of winemaking throughout Greece through a number of joint ventures that he's been involved in, all quite high quality wineries, things like Biblia Hora in Drama, an estate called Dio Ipsum in the Peloponnese, and a new venture in Santorini called Mikrothera. More recently, he and his partners have become involved in winemaking in South Africa as well. This particular wine is made entirely from estate-grown fruit. In fact, this particular example of Malagousia is made only from the oldest plots of Malagousia in Gerovassiliou's vineyard in Epanoumi. Epanoumi is to the south of Thessaloniki and beautifully looks out across the Gulf towards Mount Olympus in the distance. The winemaking starts with a cold maceration, and fermentation goes on at 18 degrees C in stainless steel tanks, so a relatively cool fermentation to enable the wine to maintain its aromas, and it's the aromas that are so important for Malagousia, which has a lovely richness but yet is also beautifully aromatic. A small portion of this wine is vinified in oak, and the wine ages for a few months after fermentation in tank with the lees, just to give it a bit more roundness and richness. So let's have a look at the wine and see if it lives up to its reputation there. Firstly, we have a fairly pale colour, not particularly green hints. Alcohol is 13%, and that is shown by the fact that it's showing some tears on the glass, but not particularly strongly. Let's see what the aromas are like. And that is very typical of Malagousia. It's almost got a sort of rich peachy aroma, heading towards the sort of aromas you get with Viognier or something like that. But then there's a slight mineral note behind that. There's a nice intensity to the fruit on the nose. So let's taste. Tasting that, it's got a wonderful mineral crispness. There's a very citrus note at the front with a real richness behind it. There's a beautiful play off between the two. I'm really salivating as a result of the acidity, but at the same time there's an almost tropical richness to the fruit coming behind it. That's absolutely beautiful. It's almost like having a combination of piquant grapefruit and a little bit of peach together, and the two are so beautifully integrated. It's lovely. There's a creamy texture. There's not necessarily a creamy lees flavour, but just the intensity of the fruit is spectacular, and that's enhanced by the lovely, crisp, clean mineral acidity. There's a little bit of weight coming from the alcohol, but not a lot. Most of that weight is fruit. The flavours are lasting beautifully. I'm sure this would keep for another couple of years, but why would you need it to? It's absolutely lovely now. the freshness and just the focus of the wine, thanks to that beautiful acidity, lifting those sort of rich fruit notes. I mean, there's a sort of a juicy, ripe grapefruit note, almost coming through a spectrum to a sort of a lychee note, that sort of richness, not quite, but heading towards it. And that flavour's you're left with a lovely cleanness because of the good acidity, and the flavour of the fruit sticks around really well. So I think that's an exceptional wine. I have to say the wines I've tasted from Gerovassiliou have been without exception really superb, very well defined, very well balanced wines, so well worth trying them. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the tasting. I hope you'll join us again for another tasting soon. If you have enjoyed the tasting, do please share the video. It would be great if you could sign up to follow us on YouTube as well. Possibly even leave your comments. We'd love to hear what you have to say. But anyway, thank you for joining us, and I hope we'll see you again soon. Bye now.